Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about slope and meaning. So let me give you a little bit of information. It really is going to flow directly from what we did yesterday in class when we talked about slope. First thing first. How do we determine the meaning of slope specifically from a table? Now, when I'm talking about a table, I want to make sure you are aware that I'm talking about when the data is displayed. Oh, I gotta move this thing. When the data is displayed like this or like this. So you can see down below, I've got a table here and I have a table here. Okay, so those are tables. So now what I want to do is have you understand that all we're doing when we interpret the slope, when we talk about the meaning, when we interpret slope, first thing we want to do is find out what the slope actually is by choosing any two ordered pairs. So the first thing that we're going to do is find the slope. And that will be using the formula that we talked about yesterday, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we're picking any 2 points, any 2 ordered pairs. And remember that the y's have to go on the top and the x's have to go on the bottom. So the first thing we do is find the slope. After that, to actually get the interpretation, okay, that interpretation part right there, to get the interpretation, we are going to use y label or y units over x units or x label. And you'll understand that better when I actually talk about an example. So let's go ahead and go right to our tables down here. Books sold is considered our x. Okay, books sold, that would be our x's. Profit would be our y's. So what I want to do is pick any 2 ordered pairs here. It doesn't matter which 2. I tend to pick numbers that in my mind are easier to work with, but because I'm here working on this, I'm going to choose harder ones just so that we can see that it works no matter what. So yesterday what I taught you was start with a fraction bar and 2 subtraction symbols. Then, let's see, I really want a different color. How do I get to it? Oh, look at there, blue. Then I'm going to make sure I put the y's on the top. These are my y values. Wait, I didn't pick that. Poop. There we go. These are my y values. So I want 350 and 425 in the top. It doesn't matter which one. 350 minus 425. And then I want to make sure that I put my x's in the bottom. And what's really important here is if I'm going to put 350 here, I have to put the corresponding x right below it. So here's my 350. The x value that's right below it, that should go right below it, is 300. So right here I'm going to put 300. Let's just make sure. 300, 350, 300, 350. And if I'm going to put 425 here, I want to put 350 right below that. 425 minus 3 over 350 and 350 over 300. So I put my y's on the top right here, and I put my x's on the bottom. So what's 350 minus 425? 350 minus 425 is negative 75. 300 minus 350 is negative 50. If you struggle with that kind of stuff, you're going to have to use your calculator. And then a negative divided by a negative, we know this is a positive. And when we do 75 divided by 50, we get 1.5. And our units, our profit, which is actually dollars, and number of books sold. So the meaning behind this 1.5 is that it's $1.5 per book, which we would write like this. $1.50 per book. Again, going back up to the top, we want to use the Y label over the X label. So when we got our 1.5, it's $1.5 per book. Dollars per book. So that is our final answer for that problem. And the next one, this is X again, and this is Y. Even though it doesn't say it in the table, we make an assumption that the column on the left is X and the column on the right is Y. That's not always the case, but in our class, we're going to make that assumption right now. So we pick any two ordered pairs to work with. I'm going to choose 1080, and how about 3040? So I'm going to pick those two. I want to start with a fraction bar and two subtraction symbols. My Y values are 80 and 40. So I'm going to do 80 minus 40. And my X values are 10 and 30. And if I'm going to put 80 here, I want to put 10 right below that. So I'm going to put 10 here, 80 and 10, and then I want to, if I'm going to put 40 right here, I want to put 30 right below that. 80 minus 40 is 40. 10 minus 30 is negative 20. And 40 divided by negative 20 is negative 2. So that right there is my slope, but that doesn't give me an interpretation, just like this 1.5 over here didn't give me an interpretation. It says here to determine the slope and its meaning. What's the meaning for this? Well, the meaning is going to be, Y label, which is gallons, over X label, which is minutes. So this is negative 2 gallons per minute. What does that mean? That means there was a decrease of 2 gallons per minute. So that is the answer I would be looking for. If you put negative 2 gallons per minute, that would be okay, but that's not the best answer. Recognizing that negative 2 means a decrease is important. Now, next part. Let's go right up here and talk about how do we get meaning from a graph. It's actually pretty much the same, except you don't have to choose two ordered pairs. You can do what we did a couple days ago and use rise over run. And I want you to be really careful. Be really careful here, because I want you to make sure you check the intervals. Make sure you check the intervals. So we're working with graphs this time. We're going to use rise over run. Right here, we got rise over run, and check your intervals. Make sure we do that. Okay, so how do we get our interpretation? We're going to, this time, use the y-axis label over the x-axis label. Hopefully I'm giving you enough time to write things down. When there are no students with me and I make a video, I tend to go a little bit too fast. Ms. Cree, if you need to rewind this a little bit, that's fine. So let's take a look at the two examples on the bottom of this page. Cost of renting a car and gasoline usage. So cost of renting a car, what I want to do is on this line, I want to look for any spots where that line crosses a lattice point. Hopefully I can find something decent. It's not looking good. It is not looking good. I don't have any really good lattice points. So I think what I'm going to do is use, that's pretty close right there. Don't pick one that's like right here. Go a little farther away than that. It will be more accurate if you do. And let's go with, how about right here? Right there. So what we did was use the rise over run. Is this a positive or a negative? I think we can recognize that when we look at this from left to right, it's going up, so that this would be a positive slope. And then we draw our little handy dandy right triangle. Again, it doesn't matter if we draw it above or below. And we want rise over run. What is our rise? What is this right here? These are going up by 5, by 5 units. So this right here should be about 5, 10. That's about 10. And then this, let's see, let's look at our scale on the x-axis. Oh, each box there's going up by 5. So what's here? We've got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. That looks to me like it's about 40. So rise over run would be 10 over 40. And when I divide that, I get 0.25. So what does that mean? That means that what I have is 0.25. I want my y-axis label. My y-axis label is dollars. It's the total cost in dollars. So it's $0.25 per, let's see, per mile driven, per mile. So I have to pay 25 cents per mile over, this isn't real critical at this time, but and for any miles over 150 miles. Next question is about gasoline usage. So now we're talking about gasoline usage. One of the things I have mentioned to you a little bit in the past is to pay careful attention to your axes. And I didn't really emphasize that enough on the previous graph, but let's take a look at our x-axis here. First off, what's graphed down there? Well, it's miles driven. And what are my intervals? Each one of these boxes right here is 25. 25, 25, 25, 25, 25. So pay attention to that. And along the y-axis, we're talking about gallons in a tank. And what I see here is that this is a decrease. This is going down. So first thing I know is that this is going to be negative something. Negative what? Well, I'm going to pick a couple lattice points. Holy cats, Mickey, we've got a ton. We got one here, here, here. We got lattice points up the wazoo right here. You pick any two of those. It doesn't matter which two. I'm going to pick this one and this one. And draw my right triangle. And this is what we did 2 days ago. We want our rise. Our rise is, of course, right here. That's our rise. So what is that? Let's see. These are going up by 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, we're counting the boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4. So my rise is 4. And what is my run? It's 4 boxes, but each box is 25 units. See this right here? 25, 25, 25, 25. So that'd be 25, 50, 75, 100. So that's 100. Whoops. Wrong thing. That's 100. So this is negative 4 over 100. And if you divide that, what you end up with is negative 0.04. Now, what does that mean? This is where we need to use our labels. We've got Y label, which is gallons, over X label, which is miles. So this is negative 0.04 miles per gallon. But I really want you to think of that as being a decrease of 0.04 miles per gallon. A decrease of 0.04 miles per gallon. So there is our answer here. There is our answer here. And your homework for tonight is to do, whoops, sorry, that was an extra page I messed up. These, we've got table, 6 tables. You pick any 2 ordered pairs in those tables. And just to give you some hints here, this one is, I don't even know what this stuff is. I really don't. Miss Cree might have a better idea of all that stuff than I do, but I think that this is probably volts per something. So your unit, you don't have to understand it. This is, you're going to get your slope, and you're going to say it's volts per kilonewton. I don't really know what that means, but that's all you're going to write. This one right here is volume of gas in milliliters. per degree Celsius. So that would be, when you get your answer, milliliters per degree Celsius. So that's 6 problems where you have to find the slope and interpret it. This will be dollars per days. This will be problems per minute. This will be ohms per degree Celsius. This will be pounds per square inch per foot. And then over here, same general idea, but you're using rise over run. And it's going to be funny. There's going to be a rhyme, or a riddle, not a rhyme. It's going to be really super funny. So find the rate of change for each of these lines, also known as the slope. Cross out the letters above each correct answer. So if you get whatever you get for this problem right here, you're going to cross off the letter down here at the bottom. So if that's one of your answers, we're going to cross that off. So that's it. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you on Monday. Now, if I can just figure out how to turn this off.